Brutalism gets a lot of flack for being ugly and cold. You look at something like this and think gray and oppressive. It's not exactly inviting. But have you ever wondered why it was built like that in the first place? Well, I did. So considering I've been in Berlin the last 2 weeks, the best place in the world for brutalist architecture, I decided I wanted to answer that question. And what I found turned out to be a lot deeper than I had expected. So first off, we need to define what brutalism even is. So I've been reading this book here, and in it they reference the first formalized criteria to categorizing brutalism. First, formal legibility of the plan. The shape of the exterior should honestly reflect the interior layout. It's not meant to disguise or dress it up. Second, clear exhibition of the structure. Not only should the building shape be honest, but the bones of the building, the things holding it up, should be visible. And third, valuation of materials as found. What this means is whatever materials you use, leave it in its natural state, meaning no painting or polishing. But how did this emerge? I've been riding around Berlin by bike the last 2 weeks and wondered, what is it about Berlin specifically that lends itself to house so much brutalist architecture? Well, it all begins after World War II, where Berlin comes out pretty much reduced to ashes. And rebuilding the city at scale needed a cost-effective and durable way, and brutalism, as we call it today, was the pragmatic response to that need. But that isn't the whole story, and while it makes logical sense, it's really only scratching the surface. The deeper truth is that Berlin couldn't reach back towards its pre-war neoclassical aesthetic vocabulary without reaching towards something morally contaminated. During the war, the plan was to turn Berlin into Weishauptstadt Germania, which translates to World Capital Germania. The man in charge described his vision saying that Berlin would only be comparable with ancient Egypt, Babylon, and Rome. There were plans for an enormous domed building inspired by Hadrian's Pantheon in Rome, and that was just the beginning. The aesthetic language was going to be neoclassical, meaning columns, domes, marble, granite, symmetry, and monumentality. Similar to ancient Roman Greece, but much bigger scale, like comically large. But the war ended before work could truly begin. And so for the architects who came after, who saw the aesthetic language their culture developed over centuries become completely tainted, there was no way they could go back to that. So to them, ornament itself had become implicated. It was guilty, and using it again would be reaching for a language that the Reich had wanted to use. And so concrete, in its most raw, undecorated form, made no reference to Rome or Greece or any prior civilization. It had no association to power or empire and was new and honest. And at the time, it was one of the only clean things left. I'm learning so much from my time here in Berlin, and in future videos, I want to expand deeper into brutalism and the unique environment that shaped the way Berlin is today. So if you want that, please like and follow, and let me know your thoughts in the comments.